Alright, it's Ben here from Second Dynasty. Let me just see that this is working. Refresh the screen. Look at the chat. Okay, awesome. This looks like it is actually working. Let me know in the chat if this is so. So, yeah, from what I can see from my settings, it looks like it is live. I am Ben from Second Dynasty, and yeah, this is our Friday stream. The last one for 2024. Next time, we will have a whole new season. That sounds weird to say. I'm not really known for succeeding at my New Year's resolutions, but my work one was to have one episode of a stream every single week, and we have done that, which is awesome. And I even got the camera working again, which is nice. So yeah, welcome to the stream. What are we going to do today? We're just going to hang out, take it easy. No one else is here. Let me say g'day to the people in the chat. Shergol, I'm excited too, my friend. We've got Eric, we've got that Blasted Semiflange, we've got Derivative Content, Solo Spirit, Will Richards, Tamsin's here, Solo Spirit, I already said, but you get 2 mentions. And yeah, welcome to the chat, welcome to the stream. I can't believe we actually did it. 52 episodes, even though I wasn't here for every single one of them. I think I was here for all but like 5. That should be about it. Hey Clive, how's it going? So, what are we going to look at today? What are we doing? Let's zoom out and have a look. So, we're still working on our concepts for, let me just make this untouchable. Our concepts for February, which are now 3 ships, or 5 ships, depending on how you look at it. So we've got what I'm calling the Valkyrie, or Valkyria, or Valkyria, which is a shuttle in the Expanse style. We have I kind of made a lengthened version, and my current thinking is, let me turn on the pouch. So, oh, it's on the wrong ship now. Let's see, if I select these and group them, and then we move this, I can show you guys what I'm thinking. Let's move this down to there. And we need to move this over to here somewhere. Don't suppose that's right. Nope. Let's go up one more. That right? Nope. Let's go up another one. That looks right. There we go. So I'm going to freeze transformations on that one. So these are the 3 designs. And I'm going to call this one the Valkyria, this one the Ratatosk, and this one the Nidhugg. And Valkyria, I think most people are familiar with Valkyries as a concept. In many different forms, of course. My favorite Valkyrie of all time is the VF1. It is synonymous with variable fighters from the Macross series. Technically, they call them Valkyries, but technically they're variable fighters. Of course, in Norse myth, the Valkyries were demigod women who would come down from Asgard to collect the souls of the slain and take them to Valhalla. So it seems an appropriate sort of like name for a shuttle class. Then Ratatosk is a squirrel that lives on the tree Yggdrasil, the world tree that links the 9 worlds of Norse mythology together, and they also are a sort of like commuter of secrets. And then we have Nidhugg, which is a dragon that feasts upon the roots of Yggdrasil and whatever other offal makes its way down there. And this time I've just been playing around with a little bit of lore, because of course we had the Sleipnir. Technically we need to maybe give the Notanante a more Norse name. But I've been thinking about lore a lot more often. Even the pod that we put up. Let me see if I can find it real quick, or actually maybe I can just grab the images. So I'm hearing that the build plates, actually, why don't we go and have a look at the build plate and see if we can find that. So Shergol did mention that the build plate for the new pod is not looking great. Let's see, where do we want to go? Catalog, STL files, tribes, then let's sort this by date, the Nipper utility pod. Let's see. Because I did make it available to people that are friends of Benjaminin just a few days early. Let's see, I want to make this available offline so it will sync. And we can have a look at this Prusa Mark IV. This is an odd build plate. So I don't know. Did you have any other trouble with it, Shergol? Let me know in the chat. Maybe you haven't printed it yet. Maybe you're just looking at it. Let's see. Could be a bug in Orca. Open as a project. Yeah, so I'm getting the same thing. Which is odd. Although I do have an older version of Prusa Slicer, so it might be... Let me just update this real quick. Which I know is not ideal to do on stream, but just to double check that it's not a Prusa Slicer issue. Go through this real quick. Next. Next. Install. And hopefully there's no serious issues. No idea what the new one is capable of. Do not send anything, and then we want to go File, Open Project, and then let's just drop this address in. Open this one up, and if we get the error, we know it's not a slicer issue. So we didn't get it there, but it is very odd that he has placed this all off to the side. So I don't know if maybe the intention was not to print all those extra instances. I really can't tell, because it does also seem like overkill, like this is all of the parts. This is all of the variants by the look of things. So I don't know. I'd have to talk to Albin about it. So I'm going to leave that for now. Because you can just do, you know, a rearrange. And I don't see any reason why this wouldn't... Why is it putting on a second print bed? That's so weird. Okay. But let me find a graphic for this thing instead. I don't think he's done any instructions either. Which wouldn't be so strange. Like, we ran out of time. Which is why we only did a little bit of we did a launch for the Fifth Frontier War with what we had ready to go. We have a ton more that's done. The problem is we haven't been able to organize it to put it out. So it's like, yes, technically, say if you're like a Shergol, you're not going to have any problem sorting it out. But it's not going to be very friendly if, say, you're Jim Bob and you just bought a new 3D printer and just for this campaign, and you want to make it work. So we do need to, get things presentable so it's easier to understand. Let me get into our images area for tribes, and I can just load up our engineering pod. Here we go. So this is what's coming next month, and this is 100% inspired by a model variant that Fabian, one of our community members, made, which had these claw arms, and I'm like, we have to do this. This is so cool. And this render doesn't quite show off the interior either, so it's got a new interior. It's all based on Fabian's design, but with our own unique parts and a bit more articulation in the arms, which, I think kind of remind me of Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2 back in the day. Anyway, let me look in the chat again. So let's see. Sam says hello. Hello, Sam. Only half went to Valhalla, the other half went to Freya's Hall. Yes, that's correct, Tamsin. Freya gets overlooked quite a bit for some reason, although she's really cool. Blasted says Ratatoska, nicest squirrel in the world tree. Yes, in Swedish it's just Ratatosk. So I'm kind of using the Swedish pronunciations for the most part. Shergel says, could be a bug in Orca. Solo Spirit says, I must be in holiday mode. Good, they suddenly look like fancy cocktail shakers. Other than the broken landing gear trying to cram them in. Oh, you broke one trying to cram it in, alright. So yeah, a wedge clip for the canopy. Right, okay. So there are a few things that look like it needs yeah. What, I need to stream about Freya every week? What? Now with having ships with arms, when do we get the Outlaw Star? Let's move on. Friday is Freya's Day, or Frigga's Day. It's kind of not really known. And those two deities, it's kind of... Norse mythology isn't really as... I mean, Greek mythology has its issues, but Norse mythology, there's a lot of stuff missing. And a lot of it is that we have to take the word of a, 13th century monk. That it's been collected correctly, so... No, it's definitely not Frey. I mean, it would make sense in a sense, because Frey was one of the three major deities. Yeah, Frey, the statues of Frey are quite interesting. Anyway, moving on from that, I was trying to say I'm trying to get into a little bit of lore. So even the... Oh, that's why I was going to bring up the product page. So if I get into... let's see. Oh, we've passed 15,000, by the way, on the Gridforge campaign. Thank you, everyone who has contributed to that one. And let me get into my library. And maybe we'll get a picture of what it looks like behind the scenes. Let's see. So this is not really... What? Have we changed these recently? I guess Lieselot's been working today, because she's updated a ton of files. Need to get back to where we were. Basically, John told us that there's two descriptions in various different files, and we're only supposed to use one of them. So, okay. Here is where we start here. So we've got the Hyperion dropship, because I did do an update to that yesterday. Oh yeah. So someone pointed out that there was an incorrect number of bases on various decks. We were missing a toilet seat. So I updated the print beds and added the missing STL files, and now the Hyperion Sphere dropship has been updated. I also updated the shuttle pod variant, and escape pods only in name, because I wanted to give them a manufacturer and a model number. And so now the shuttle pod variant is officially the Outback PS7E shuttle pod extended variant of the Outback PS7 shuttle pod. The Chimera escape pods became the Chimera PE6 escape pod, so the generation before, which kind of makes sense considering the fidelity update. And the new pod, the Outback PR7 Nipper. And as I mentioned on the Discord, which I'm sure not everyone has seen, and I just realized I can't check the chat while this is up, so let me move this back over, pull this window out. There we go, so I can look at the chat again over here. And nothing's going on in the chat. So yeah, I just wanted to start adding a little bit of lore to this thing. We'll add some additional images, but obviously this is free with tribes for next month. If you are one of the lucky few who are friends of Benjamin, and you can print this out now. I think it's a cool little machine, and I want to thank both Albin, who did a very fast job putting this together. It's a lot of kit bashing, and also Fabian for creating the impetus of this thing. And if you want to see more details about that, I did do a update on our tribe today. Let me see, here we go. If I go to posts, you guys should be able to see there's a new post today, end of year and preview of January. Let's load that up, where I show off this original sort of kit bash that Fabian did. Some of the parts aren't Second Dynasty though. Some of these miniatures aren't either. I think it's really cool that he's got the power loader update there. I guess that's the older model version, I'm not sure. And then of course I wanted to mention what we're working towards in February and beyond. So yeah, that's kind of like where we got up to. I'm going to close this off. Let's see. Late again, I forgot it was Friday and forgot it was 3 p.m. there. Oh well, no worries. You're here now, Doug. You're here now. So yeah, I've just, this is an older document. I don't think there's anything secret in here. When I was working on some various different ideas for a game, I did start listing out some of our ships and their lengths and heights to figure out some stats on them. Some of this is just made up, like what you might have for different classes. There is a model for all of these, but technically some I'd never create because they're just too big. But right now, you can see down the bottom, Ratatosk, Nidhugg, Valkyria. And I haven't measured the shuttle yet, but it would probably be closer to 20 meters at scale. You can see the Nidhugg is actually huge. It would technically be our largest ship that we've published. So you can kind of say I've started putting in like brand names for different manufacturers, and just creating a little bit of lore behind it. You can drag and drop it in. My kind of idea for the sort of Sleipnir series is that it's a Mercurian conglomerate of Scandinavian countries. Kalmar 2 maybe, or something like that, I don't know. There was a union a long time ago. We don't talk about that because Denmark was at the head of it. But the idea being that you could drag and drop this into your Expanse game or into a similar sort of thing. So rather than like, you know, Martian Navy vessels, they could be Mercurian. That's kind of the idea behind it. But the Nidhugg is meant to be a torpedo destroyer. The Ratatosk, a light frigate, and the Valkyria, light transport. So 56 meters at scale, and I think for reference, the Chimera is 53.5, and that would be one of our largest vessels, I think. Let's see, ships are always named after Greek or Norse mythology. I think we need some Hindu, Filipino, or other Asian cultures. Do your own, mate. Stick with whatever gets you going with that. That's fair enough, but I mean, I live in a Scandinavian culture, and I have to be honest, I don't know enough about Hindu or Filipino or other Asian cultures to comment on that or create stuff based on it. So, not my wheelhouse. Although I do agree, there should be more inspiration like that. I just don't think I'm the person to do it. So yeah, this is going to be somewhat of a bigger job, although there is going to be a lot of crossover with these models between Sleipnir and whatnot. This is going to be released on BackerKit instead of Kickstarter or my mini factory. So yeah, that's where I'm at, and I was in the process of lengthening this just another 2 inches, which is why you can kind of see this doesn't look great here. And it's all about matching these tiles together, which they don't at the moment. Also, I don't love the top-down profile of this thing at the moment. So if I get my grid turned off here, you can kind of see a little bit better, but I don't hate the shape, but it does kind of feel like there should be more happening midships here in the side direction. And I have a few ideas that I'd like to share with you guys, and then we can maybe explore it. And that could be a nice little thing to do. I think it looks great when you're sort of like looking at it top down, like this. Sorry, yeah, because that's the top. So really I was talking about the side profile here, but you'll notice the big change here is that this has 2 additional torpedo tubes, whereas the other one only has the one. And it also has an additional PDC, well actually 3 additional PDCs. The shuttle is unarmed. And yeah, so what I'm thinking is with this airlock, I'm still not 100% sold. I do like this kind of shape. I do like the asymmetry. It's always interesting to have a bit of symmetry and then to sort of like break it up a little bit. This airlock door does have some challenging aspects to it. The biggest one is probably the fact that this door normally has to come down a huge amount. Why is that selecting? Okay, it was just green that looked like LED. So this has to come all the way down here, which will create some issues because we need to have that intersecting with the hull. Obviously, if we have this RCS section, I hate when it does that. Stupid Maya bugs. So I think the solution would be to have doors that are only half the size and come down, or work in a different direction. But I'm kind of like, I'm going to get some basic shapes out here. So let's see, I'm going to turn off that, I'm going to turn off that. Oh, okay, they share a lot together. So maybe we add this one to its own new layer. Like so. So we can sort of see this a little bit better from some different angles, but let's move this back to where it was. Let's see. If you land on a planet without a station, how do you get out? I don't know yet, is the answer. The Sleipnir actually has a hatch down the bottom for that. So there's a possibility we would add one. But at this moment, I do not know a jetpack. I have to be honest. So what I'm thinking, I need to be on this side. I kind of like the shape that this is creating, but I'm wondering if we can enhance this. So let's get a very rough shape going here. Let's up the exposure to 1.5 because this is a little bit. Wait. Oh, autosave's on. Good morning from Ottawa. Happy third day of Christmas and second day of Hanukkah. All. Thank you, Brian. Hope everyone who celebrates Christmas or Hanukkah has had a good one so far. It was a very nice, quiet one. This is really taking forever now that I've got so many ships in one scene. But no crashing so far. Okay, so if I drop this down to, whoa, what just happened? There we go. I wanted wire mode. So I'm going to create some shapes from scratch using my grid. Let's go there. There and here. Then I'm going to just create some additional angles here. I can already see a few issues with what I'm planning, but the main thing is to get the basic shape out that I'm looking to make. And really I'm only interested in getting some geometry here that I can play with. So this is going to be a bit off because it's kind of hard for me to see. I'm going to center the pivot and then move this out so that's in parallel with this thing. So I can start moving parts down to where I want them to be. Because I kind of want this, maybe not that much, maybe like here, to continue out like this so that the airlock would actually be like the ship would have like a bulge here. I don't know. I'm struggling to decide if I like it or not. Feels like it's a bit far out at the moment. Like, what looks good here is the question. Just want to ask everyone here, if you're interested in fantasy Gridforge tiles, basic pack of 10 tiles, what would you pay for it? If you land on a planet without a... sorry, we've been there. Brian says, I'm enjoying this time off work, taking it easy and visiting family. Tamsin says, telescoping ladder. I'm glad you're enjoying your time off, Brian. Pricing is always hard, blasted. It is always hard. What is fair? It's also a question. See, maybe we're overcomplicating things. I like the bulge, and I have an idea for this other side of having like some asymmetry in the form of torpedo loader. We've got 3 tubes up the top, and they all need reloading, and I can imagine there being a spot on the ship where you just like, maybe on one of these angled side pieces, you can load in the ammunition. It slides up and into place. It would wreak havoc on the interior layout though. This is very much a case of the ship going up rather than out. Kind of feel like I should have made it chunkier. So I'm exploring concepts here. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the final version. Look for something similar to get an idea of price. Clive, I don't know if that's the best advice, to be honest. Because the problem on my mini factory is there's tiles in and of themselves. It's like, it's not a complete open lock tile. It's compatible with, Gridforge. So, and then the other thing is, are they tiles where you're just going to have one single tile for each one of them, or are you going to have 16 variants for all the different standard layouts? Is it a repeatable pattern, or is it unique? And then I do believe polling is a better place to sort of definitely ask, but unfortunately I think also you need to conduct polls. Kind of hard. I can pull my audience fairly well because I have, hundreds of customers, and people in the Discord and that sort of thing. I think the main issue here for you, Blasted, is that you're talking about fantasy tiles and people are in our media for sci-fi. I don't mind the question at all. I just don't know if you're going to get the right answer here. There would definitely be a demand for it, I think, so. But it would require a different audience. I think if you would poll the people that are here, most would say they're here for sci-fi. So I don't know. I kind of liked this idea. I think we could move like the door out to here. See, even half an inch, it would need to be like here. And that feels off. feel like there's something going on with my grids here. Oh, that's the wrong button. I'm also kind of feeling like, why didn't I take some time off? Okay. So a part of the issue is that this ship is aligned. It's off by 1/2 inch. This sort of section is. You can see here that it's built around a 2x2 base tile. The tiles are a repeatable pattern, so the 10 tiles are really all needed. What do you mean all needed? Are you talking about 160 tiles or 10 tiles? In any case, we can see there is a slight issue with this. I think we would definitely need to come out by one more. But then it looks like we couldn't get away with any more than this. So I still am not sold that this is a good idea, and the reason for it primarily is, where does that door go? Where do we reintegrate with the hull? How does it make the profile look? The other thing is, like, this door, now that I think about it, let's move this here, and the frame, and the door. So you could have even more asymmetry here by doing something unusual. Like, I think part of the issue too is I just, on this screen, need to isolate a bit. So, oh, that's meant to be one more. Yeah. Not great. I mean, the original did have some angled tiles on it. I don't know if we can we show off, let's see, deck 7 and 8 on the original. So actually we would have this angle. Question is that the same angle? Let's have a looky, see. It's not. None is the same. Which isn't the worst thing in the world, it's just not ideal either. Why is that so off? Anyway, so we did make this continue upwards. Question is, would there be enough room for this door? Whoa. If there is, it's a tiny, tiny margin. Only needs to go up a level. Other options are that you have the track on the inside. We also need to move that airlock deck if that's the case. Right now I'm just interested in seeing like what the shape of the ship looks like. And so we need to move some of these to fit. So we want to keep this symmetrical if possible. And I would say if we did this like this, partially we might want to go over more with the doors. And again, I haven't decided this is what I want to do. Question is if we could still go down with that. Like here, maybe rather than having this, I was considering like just turning this angle into that, but what if we instead do this? Go up. And down. Because adding things like this, also, aside from changing the profile of the ship, and if we look at this top down again here now, all of a sudden, we need to turn off the, there we go. Make this a bit darker. Sorry about that. Need a bit of a drink maybe. Let's see. You're talking about one tile for each size that Gridforge has, unlike some one of the sci-fi ones you've done where the pattern goes one direction, the cobble tiles can be turned around and fit. Okay. I don't need 16 variants because of that. Okay, so you're saying like, because you don't need to change the orientation, maybe you're talking about 7 variants or something. Marker says, converted gantry to Gridforge to get out of the Hyperion, printed a bunch of foliage in the black to make a scorch zone. Have I considered a folding airlock instead of a sliding one? That's a good point. We don't really have to, you know what, it would actually be, we could even do the kind of doors that we have here. Wait, were those doors always like that with that extrusion? I guess they must have been. Just didn't really notice it before now. Okay. Okay. Anyway, I really like these new little thrusters too. Just adds a bit of a variety. So yeah, instead of worrying about how we solve the airlock itself, let's look at what it looks like as a whole. Because there are a few different things we could do potentially. And if we move that like out here and to there. I think this sort of profile, let's move these over for a bit, not sure what they're doing at the moment. Doesn't that look more interesting than the sort of like this just being straight down? Yeah, yeah. Well, it is a cargo lock too, so I think the cargo, honestly, in the Expanse universe anyway, like either you have, like think of the Donager hangar, I think you just depressurize the cargo bay. So I don't know. I'm having a hard time deciding. And then it's like, do you mirror the opposite side, or do you like create, like, let's say we've got this one, right? We go over to here. Let's mirror that, but rather than going all the way up like this does, we go 1, 2, 3, ball, and then over 1, 2. So that should be half. Down 1, 2, 3, 4. Over there. So you've still got like this sort of enhanced cargo bay capacity, but this far side has a little bit of asymmetry built in, and then here you have your sort of like loading system. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I like it at all. Thanks, Marcus. Have a good day at work. Let's see, it says engage with my audience. Let's start a poll. Okay. Should the Nidhogg retain its original narrow profile, have the symmetrical bulge or asymmetrical ball? There are 2 M's in symmetrical. Okay, or bulge only on one, on the airlock side. Make the bulges symmetrical. So, I don't know if you guys are hanging to this or not. Sorry, if you're following along, I mean, the poll is started. You guys can start voting. We'll see what you think. I suspect there's not a ton of people going to contribute today. So basically, to go over the options, retain the narrow profile. The asymmetrical bulge would be something like this. Although technically maybe we'd only have it on, the other one was have it only on that one side, or have it basically so this entire section is mirrored on the opposite side, so creating a bit of symmetry. Well, it looks like people are enjoying the asymmetrical bulge for now. I do feel like the asymmetrical bulge does at least have the benefit of making it feel more like a real ship, like it's designed with purpose. And I think technically you should still be able to mirror it in your slicer. The main issue, so we've got an autosave at the moment, so I'm not really doing too much. The one thing that you could do with airlock doors is have them opening sideways, but actually coming out of the sides. Why does asymmetry make for tougher physics for reaction drives? It's mostly the RCS weight, right? The drive itself doesn't care, there's no resistance in space. I mean, wouldn't you just like program your thrusters to compensate for that? I mean, technically all of this is asymmetrical in a sense. Still, at the moment we're at make it symmetrical. I wonder if the yes, they have to account for the asymmetry with the space shuttle, for example, but the asymmetry is mostly kept to like 2 planes rather than 1, so at least rather than 3. So rotating airlock doors that turn inward. Fuel as a ballast would balance asymmetry. To physics thing, and it makes the fuel use more expensive, but damn, it looks cool, so screw it. I kind of agree. It looks like the community is quite torn with this thing. And the tear is very much between the asymmetrical bulge and the symmetrical bulging. That's kind of a good point though, Blasted. I don't know. I am concerned with this one about the weight. And it is... Yeah. This would be interesting. I am thinking I'd need some additional bracing under here. Like, I know it's not really practical, but to put like, say, something like this around the engine here. Not because the engine needs it. I don't know if this would technically make any sense with this kind of engine. But mostly just so it's sitting and distributing weight a bit more evenly. That is something I am concerned with. And it will be a heavy ship. Say the Sleipnir is like 4.5 kilos. This is another... I think we'd need to compare it. Let's see where the nose of the Sleipnir is. Yeah, this is like another 6 inches longer than the Sleipnir. So, Sleipnir does start to get a bit wobbly. Like, it's fine when you're stacking it together, but when you're trying to unstack it. This is also one of the reasons why a bit of asymmetry in the shape, like breaking it up, can make it a bit easier to like lift off layers. I can go either way with this one. It'll be more of an issue when we get to the Omega class battleship from B5. So don't take the supports off when you print it. It's the physics and asymmetry that makes sure we scale up and keep it on track, but damn, it looks so cool, so screw it, put it in. Yeah, I know. I mean, let's put it this way. We've had the votes, and the bulges being symmetrical is at 47%. We've had 17 votes. We've got 20 people in the chat, which is extremely good participation, guys. Very, very good. That's insane. So 85% participation. Well, no, 90% participation, basically. Like 87, something like that. Anyway, I'm going to end the poll. And at least for today, we are going to... We're going to make this asymmetry symmetrical. It's still asymmetric because the ship itself is obviously not completely following that. Maybe I will find some additional angles to add, but I do like this idea. Maybe the the big or the tiny little bit of asymmetry we might add is something like this. I don't know, that would simplify my needs a little bit. If we like cut it up a tiny bit. Get your shader back on. So if I like just did this to give the impression, like that would create just a tiny little bit of asymmetry. Yeah, I don't love it. What if this was like why is it not? No, that's not good. Don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, so it's gonna need some kind of customization here, but I don't know if that's the way to. I think the simple thing is this. I think it needs to be like this. Yeah, that's it, I think. And maybe even yeah, I think we do this. Ugh. How do we make that look? Actually, what if it's like this? And then you could even go like this on the opposite side. Let's see. Let's harden those edges. Maybe one way to compensate here is by doing this. Maybe not quite that bad, but maybe like so. We shall see how it goes. All right. Yes, that poll was pretty close. It was. But it looks like it won by 2 votes. Interestingly, no one wanted the narrow profile. Which, I guess makes sense. You get more floor space, right? Yeah, I'm sure there's more that we could do here. But I kind of like the way it's coming out. I'm just gonna let me turn off some of that nonsense. Isolate this. I kind of love twisting and turning these things around because you really get that sort of like, I don't know, I can just hear those rocket engines in my head like on The Expanse, right? So yeah, I don't know. I think I might continue to play with this form a little bit. It just feels a little off to me. Oh, okay. Yeah, it looks like we're getting somewhere again. yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to play with this a little bit more. But you know what? It is now 4 o'clock. Bear in mind that the bulge on the airlock side only is an asymmetry mode. Yeah. It is. That's right. The reason I didn't list it is because you have a, I think, 35 character limit in the question. So... Anyway, yeah, great stuff, guys. Thanks for joining me, guys and gals, I guess. If you're joining us late, thanks for checking us out anyway. I know it was a bit less fun maybe than it can be sometimes since we don't have very much to show, but I hope everyone has a happy new year, and we will be back in 2025, and it should be a massive year. I mean, you can already see. Pretty massive. So with that being said, guys, have a good one. Stay safe. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye, guys.